Dmitry, well, I personally think our whole approach to Chechnya, it's wrong.
I'm listening.
Well, maybe we should vary our point of view. I mean, right now, it's the Russian armies. What if it was the Chechens? Look, I don't mean the rebels.
I've tried. The few civilians I've met won't talk to me because I'm Russian. What am I supposed to do? Pretend I'm from Bolivia?
How's your Spanish? All right, that's it. Thank you.
That's a clip from Words of War. I'm delighted to say that its star Maxine Peake has joined us, I think, from Australia. Is that right, Maxine?
Yes, I'm in a little town in Victoria called Hamilton. I'm just filming out here. I've been out here about 4 months now, ready for home. But yeah.
Is there anything, what should I ask you about? Is there anything you can tell us about what you're filming there?
Oh, it's a new TV series for Apple called The Dispatcher. It's a thriller. Starring Patrick Bramall, who I'm sure everyone will know from Calling from Accounts, fabulous Patrick Bramall.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's set out, in the outback in Australia, and it's a thriller. I don't know what to say without giving it
excellent. No, that's very good. Just a little flavour of what you've been involved with. Okay, so what I imagine is very warm. To the extreme cold of Words of War, where you play Anna Politkovskaya. Just introduce us to Anna and introduce us to where we are with this film, Maxine. Some people will be familiar with her and with the story, but just take us into the area that we have here.
So the film starts. It's I wouldn't say it's a straight biography, but a biopic. But it's about Anna. So Anna Politkovskaya, who was a Russian journalist who was murdered in the early 2000s. And she didn't start out as a war correspondent, but she was sort of picked. She worked for Novaya Gazeta, and Dmitry, her editor, thought she'd be a fabulous sort of spokesperson, journalist to go into Chechnya. And she became the voice of the Chechnyan people, really, of the citizens out there. She had a really strong bond and a strong sense of giving voice to the voiceless during the conflict. And she was hounded for it, and eventually was killed for her involvement in trying to tell the truth to the rest of the world what was happening in Putin's regime.
Yeah, and that clip that we heard is at this newspaper, which we learn it was kind of Gorbachev's newspaper. Yeah. He set it up, and there's a photograph of Gorbachev on. So Kieran Hines plays the editor, Dmitry Muratov. Yeah. And there's a lot of very interesting conversation that takes place because I think you're called the People Correspondent. So that your job is not to go and report on the battles, but to report on the people.
Yeah.
Which must have occurred to Anna, maybe this is exactly what she wanted, was a fiercely dangerous job.
Yeah. I think she was always well aware. I mean, she wasn't the first journalist to have been killed in the line of duty as a journalist. I mean, it's never been completely clarified who was responsible, for her death. But yeah, she knew it was dangerous. And the film sort of tells a story. There's a point where she decides to sort of try and pull away from it. And that's the point when, unfortunately, her life gets taken. But yeah, she was always very aware, she understood the risks, but the truth was more important. I mean, I don't think she wasn't that she was fearless or reckless, but she felt that, the truth had to be told, and that she was and it became an obsession with her. And yeah.
During the early 2000s, I was doing an afternoon show on 5 Live. And so I remember covering the Bezlan Siege, which the school siege, which comes up in your film, and the aftermath of that. And in the opinion of the foreign reporters that I spoke to, I remember them saying that the most terrifying and horrific war that they had covered was Chechnya, that there was a brutality that happened in that state, in that breakaway state, that they hadn't seen before. And clearly the horrors of what they saw there had stayed with them. As you were preparing for the role and as you filmed the role, what did you learn about what the Chechens went through?
Absolutely. It was the brutality of it. It's devastating. It was a genocide, an absolute genocide. And it felt, reading, especially Anna's Russian diaries, doing research, it was hell on earth, for these people. But that what was really struck me was the brutality and the devastation that I'd not, up to that point, things have, we're in a situation today, aren't we? But, up to that point, I had never delved that deeply into. And I knew I knew there'd been a conflict in Chechnya, but I had no idea. And I think that's the trouble. We don't realise, do we, till we take that deep dive.
Hey, Simon, apparently we've got 20 seconds to tell people how fabulous NordVPN is.
Okay, 1, you get access to streaming services in other countries. 2, you save money on booking holidays as well as having premium cybersecurity on your devices, and all for the price of a coffee a month.
To get your exclusive NordVPN deal, go to nordvpn.com/kmtake for a huge discount on your NordVPN plan and a bonus gift.
It's completely risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. The link is in the description below.